Good day, everyone. Once again, welcome to English for Academic and Professional Purposes class. I am teacher Jade Nicole Rivera from Santa Maria Integrated High School, Division of Laguna. In our previous lesson, we have discussed the language used in academic text, which are formal, objective, and technical. Today, we will be discussing Lesson 3, Academic Reading Strategies. So after this lesson, you are expected to identify the different reading strategies as tool in academic writing and evaluate one's purpose for reading. Strategies differ from reader to reader. The same reader may use different strategies for different contexts because their reading or their purpose for reading changes. When deciding which strategies you use, of course, you should ask yourself, why am I reading? And what am I reading? People read different kinds of texts such as scholarly articles, textbooks, reviews, and many more. Readers have different reasons in reading, and that is what we call the purposes for reading. The first purpose of reading is to scan for specific information. Readers may use scanning or skimming strategies. Scanning and skimming are both done by reading rapidly. So the difference is that in scanning, you are going to look for a specific information, and in skimming, you are going to get the overview of the whole text. For example, I am reading an English book and I want to look for the definition of noun. What I would do is scan the English book and look for the topic noun. Now, what is skimming? In skimming, it is done to get the overview of the text. Say for instance, I wanted to know what is the first lesson in the English book all about. So what I would do is to skim or read lesson 1 rapidly, and then afterwards, I will be able to know that lesson 1 is about noun. So that is the difference between scanning and skimming. Another purpose of reading is to write something. So oftentimes, writers read because they wanted to get information for their writings. And in your case, being grade 12 students, you are reading related literature and studies because you wanted to write something in your research paper. So, make reading a habit. And another purpose of reading is to critique an argument. People, specifically critics, read because they want to critique an argument. Okay, so they are the ones who really need a close reading for them to carefully evaluate a piece of writing. And another purpose of reading is to learn something. This is widely used in every situation. When we wanted to learn something, we read. We wanted to know how to bake cookies, we read. Okay? And the last purpose is to understand the world around us. So, people read for general comprehension. When we are wondering of what is happening in the world, we read. We look for the meaning of it. We look into dictionaries, in Googles, and in every books. So with these purposes of reading, we use various reading strategies. Now, the first strategy is clarify, or make something clearer or easier to understand. For example, I am reading a novel and I encountered the word pulchritude, which is kind of unfamiliar to me. So what I would do is to clarify its meaning. Okay, so where will I clarify the meaning of the word? I may use dictionaries. So in order to make something clearer or easier to understand, I will clarify the terminologies that are unfamiliar to me. Next, connect or relate what you are reading to other texts and the real world. So connecting is usually done when you experience what you have read. Okay? For example, you have read a science book with the topic photosynthesis. And you learned that the plants need sunlight and water in order to grow. You connect and relate what you have read in the real world. So you expose your plants in sunlight. You water them every day in order for them to grow. So you are connecting what you have read into the real world. Next is evaluate or judge the text and actions of the characters. So when you read a book or an article and you wanted to give your opinion or judgment about the characters or the piece itself, what you would do is evaluate. Okay? Next is predict. Predicting is also determining what you think will happen next in the text. For example, when you read a story and then the ending is unclear or unresolved, so what you would do is to predict the ending with your own interpretation. Okay, so we usually do this not just in books or not just in reading, but also when we watch movies. We also predict. For example, we are watching series. We also predict, oh, what will happen next? Okay, so that is predict. Next is question or ask questions about the material you are reading. So as you read, you ask questions about the material you are reading. You ask yourself random questions about the text. Like, what happened? What happened to the characters? Why did it happen? Okay, so you ask yourself questions. And then, last is visualize or create mental images of the people, places, and events being described. So this is what readers always do. So as we read, we keep on imagining people, places, and events. Our minds create images of what are being described in the text because we are just having the words, we just read the text. So what we usually do is to picture it out in our minds. Okay? So those are the different reading strategies. Alright, so for the evaluation of what you have learned, so let us have a short quiz. Get your pen and paper. Ready? Directions. Listen carefully and analyze what each statement refers to. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Okay, so you may pause the video if you need more time to think. Number 1. Determine what you think will happen next in the text. A. Clarify. B. Connect. C. Predict. D. Visualize. Number 2. Create mental images of the settings, characters, and events in the text. A. Clarify. B. Connect. C. Evaluate. D. Visualize. Number 3. Stop and ask yourself questions to see if the text makes sense. A. Clarify. B. Evaluate. C. Predict. D. Question. Number 4. Find ways to relate the text you have read to yourself, other texts, and the world around you. A. Clarify. B. Connect. C. Predict, D. Visualize. Number 5, think about the text as a whole and form opinions about what you have read. A. Clarify, B. Evaluate, C. Predict, D. Question. Six, stopping when you are confused to reread or look up a word you don't know. A. Clarify, B. Evaluate, C. Predict, D. Question. 7. When you give your opinion of a book or story, you are using the blank strategy. A. Clarification, B. Evaluation, C. Prediction, D. Summarization. Number 8. Making pictures in your mind as you read is an example of A. Clarification, B. Connection, C. Prediction, or D. Visualization. Number 9. Wondering about why a character acted in a certain way is using the comprehension skill of A. Clarifying, B. Predicting, C. Questioning, or D. Visualizing. And the last number, this story reminds me of something I heard on the news, is an example of which strategy? A. Clarifying, B. Connecting, C. Evaluating, or D. Predicting. Alright, so let us check your work. Number 1, determine what you think will happen next in the text. Letter C, it's predict. Okay, number 2, create mental images of the settings, characters, and events in the text. It's letter D, visualize. 3, stop and ask yourself questions to see if the text makes sense. It's letter D, question. 4, find ways to relate the text you have read to yourself, other texts, and the world around you. So it's letter B, connect. 5, think about the text as a whole and form opinions about what you have read. So it's letter B, evaluate. 6, stopping when you are confused to reread or look up a word you don't know. It's letter A, clarify. 7, when you give your opinion of a book or story, you are using the blank strategy. So it's evaluation, letter B. 8, making pictures in your mind as you read is an example of, it's letter D, visualization. And then 9, wondering about why a character acted in a certain way is using the comprehension skill of, it's letter C, questioning. And the last number, this story reminds me of something I heard on the news is an example of which strategy. So it's letter B, connect. Alright, so have you got all items correctly? Well, if yes, you did a great job. But if not, it's okay. You may return to the presentation where you missed the right answer. Okay, so see you again in our next episode for a new and exciting learning in English for academic and professional purposes. Keep learning, keep growing. Bye!